Welcome, my students. Gather close. Today, our explainer descends into the macabre, bone-white dust of objective reality. Now, madness, they call this text, but we're about to strip away all those comforting hallucinations of the past. I want you to imagine a world where the maps you've literally used your entire life are suddenly revealed to be total fictions. That is the grim, dark, gothic fable we're dissecting today. We're going to examine the source text, the mapmaker of reality, and we're going to uncover the raw, unvarnished truths hidden beneath centuries of gilded lies.
Just think about the frantic energy of the old mapmaker in the parable of the gilded betrayal. He doesn't just quietly file his charts away. No, he casts his golden-leafed maps straight into a roaring furnace. He actively destroys them. And he stands there, watching the beautifully drawn angels and cherubim literally shrivel and blacken in the white heat of his own intellectual honesty. He spits upon the memory of a paradise that was never, ever more than a scribe's frantic hallucination. It's this violent, absolutely necessary rejection of a false world.
Now the city elders, they shrieked at him. They branded him a traitor to the light. Yet these fools were navigating by stars that had long since died in the heavens. The mapmaker realized a terrifying truth. The universe remains utterly indifferent to our longing. It is nothing but a cold story written in bone and limestone. And by accepting this, the gates of his mythic, comforting city closed forever, and it left him as a refugee of truth in a vast wasteland of objective reality.
So, I have to ask you directly, right now. Have you ever actually examined the chains of your own vocabulary? Are you too navigating by dead stars? I mean, the words you use every single day to define what's right, what's wrong, what is valuable, where did they actually come from? We are setting the stage here for a brutal intellectual dissection. We have to figure out if the concepts we hold dearest are actually just cages built by dead men.
Section 1. Surgery on Sacred Manuscripts, the Bone-White Dust. Picture a wanderer, a surgical hermit, kneeling right there in that bone-white dust, gripping a jagged quill. And he is not here to write poetry. He is here to perform surgery on the sacred manuscripts of his fathers. His tool of choice, philology. But not as some dry academic study. No, he uses it as a violent surgical weapon to carve through the suffocating moss of theology. He's slicing into the words themselves to expose the anxious, completely human hands that actually forged every single so-called divine decree. Through philology, he completely rejects absolute authority by mastering the very language that built it. With meticulous etymological cuts, he performs his dissection. First, he carves right through the theology. Second, he exposes the human forgery lurking beneath it. And finally, he reveals that concepts like sin are not these grand cosmic decrees at all. They're merely historical accidents. They were meticulously designed over centuries to chain the strong and keep them submissive. He is totally, fundamentally rejecting inherited moral labels.
Section 2. Uncovering Ancient Resentment, the Moral Scraper.
Beneath a punishing, vertical sun, the traveler physically seizes the words good and evil, and what he finds is a terrible stench, ancient resentment. It's the revenge of the weak, cleverly disguised as sacred morality. And we see this today, don't we? Modern victimhood complexes wielded as both shields and weapons. They're just new disguises for a fundamental lack of strength. What the meek throughout history have called sacred is very often just a defense mechanism against their own paralyzing fear. Like an obsessed art restorer, he scrapes away this cheap moral paint. Underneath the sacred, underneath the revenge of the meek, he uncovers a forgotten, bloody vitality in nature. This is the raw reality before human anxiety painted all over it. Scraping this paint reveals how a vibrant, living strength was slowly, methodically suffocated until it became the unexamined chains that bind us today. Because he mastered the words he used to think, he finally purchased the deed to his own intellect. Now that is the ultimate payoff. This philological gift granted the wanderer total, absolute sovereignty over his own vocabulary. Those unexamined chains, he turned them into broken ornaments. By refusing to let dead generations define his words, he literally bought back his own mind.
Section 3. Dialogue with the Shadow, the Artificial Gloom.
The clock strikes the stroke of noon, the vertical sun beats down, completely burning away the artificial gloom of the past, and the wanderer is suddenly confronted by his own shadow. The shadow hisses in this gothic, desperate terror. I am alone. The boundaries of our inherited history are gone. Take us back to the safety of the herd. It's too cold out here. But the wanderer roars back.
You call me a monster for loving the barren rock? A man of knowledge must hate even those who offer him the warm poison of consolation. He completely and utterly rejects the artificial warmth of the past for the freezing, sovereign truth of the present.
Section 4. Amor Fati and Mastery, the Shadowless Zenith.
The ghosts of the fathers have vanished. He has entirely rejected all inherited moral labels. So, what remains? Amor Fati, a triumphant, roaring embrace of reality. It is the joyous, uncompromising love of one's fate without any higher judge. There is nobody looking down to grade you. There is no paradise lost. There is only the objective wasteland, and the wanderer looks at it and loves it exactly as it is, without wishing it were anything else.
And without a higher judge, the wanderer discovers his will to power. Now, listen closely. This is not the petty subjugation of others. It is the ultimate, sovereign creative force. It is the tool the pioneer uses now that the slate is completely wiped clean. The universe is a perfectly blank vellum, and the will to power is the ink he's going to use to write his own purpose into existence.
Becoming. It's a word of pure potential, whispered into the void. The very first stroke upon an unmapped horizon. It means you are no longer a static creation of the past. You are an active, evolving, undeniable force.
Mastery. The wanderer is now the sole architect of his own purpose. He's no longer bound by the resentment of the weak or the historical accidents of morality. He is entirely sovereign.
So my students, the maps are burned. The words are dissected. Will you remain a whimpering shadow, terrified and clinging to the warm poison of inherited history? Or will you pick up your own jagged quill, embrace Amor Fati, and become the sole architect of your own unmapped horizon? The blank vellum is waiting for you.